to Blossom Sandwich Sews. My name is Yvette and today I am joining you on the vlogger tour for the Sew Long Sleeves 23 challenge. So this challenge is hosted by Shannon of the Sewing Warehouse on Instagram. So do go and check out her account for the full details of joining in the challenge. Basically, you just have to sew something with long sleeves during the month of October. I'm going to chat a little bit more towards the end of the video about the prize draw because it's quite different from a lot of other Instagram challenges, which is going to be quite exciting, I think. So today I'm going to tell you about what I have made for the challenge, similarly to my previous video where I talked about my Sew Upcycle project that I made, the Mabel dress. So that's a couple of videos back if you want to go and check out that project. So for this project, I actually made something for my husband Doug. I know, I'm such a nice person. I'll give you a little sneak peek of what I made. So here we go, evidence of the long sleeves. Tick box checked. So when Doug and I were in Kent visiting his family, we visited the Little Shop of Fabrics in Smarden, which was a really amazing like treasure trove of a fabric shop, and they had a really nice workshop space there as well. So if that is in your area or if you're visiting that area, I would definitely recommend a visit there, especially if you're into quilting, because they've got tons and tons of quilting fabrics, and they've also got like several long arm quilting machines that you can like train up on and use. So yeah, it was really cool to visit there, and they did have some like dressmaking, garment making fabrics as well. And so Doug saw this fabric that he really liked because it is a bit different. So it's this kind of khaki green colour, like tie-dye effect, fleeceback jersey fabric. So I'll show you the inside. So it's really snuggly and warm on the inside. So I made for Doug the men's zip-up sweater by Wardrobe by Me Patterns. So I have made this for him once before. So I'll show you the previous version as well. So this is the first version that I made for Doug last year. So this is in a plain navy, like viscose knit fabric that I bought from Sew Me Sunshine. I think I bought it on one of the Sew Me Sunshine open days because it's just so soft and cozy. So yeah, I thought it was really lovely. And then while I was at Sew Me Sunshine, I was also able to buy matching ribbing for this. So you can't even barely see the difference in the colours, but that's the ribbing. So the pattern suggests that you use a ribbing for the kind of neck / collar. So you can either zip all the way up to wear it like a turtleneck, or you can wear it more open, more like a sort of polo neck kind of collar. And then there's also a ribbing band on the bottom as well. And I think there's also ribbing on the cuffs it recommends. So on this version, I didn't do the cuffs. When I made the first version of this pattern, I learned a few lessons which I have taken into my second iteration of the pattern. So I will tell you about those. So this is the pattern piece for the front yoke. So this part here that goes over the sort of top part of your chest and where the zip goes up the middle. So when I was cutting out, I cut it out this way up, obeying the grain line, but I usually leave my pattern pieces clipped to the pieces of fabric that I've cut out so that I can remember what's what and which way up it goes. So when I came to join them together, I assumed that this was the top edge of the pattern piece because the writing is the correct way up when it's this way around. So I had assumed that I think this was the neck hole, this is like the centre front, and then this was like the part where it joins onto the like lower bodice. So I joined it all on, really struggled to get the zip in, struggled to get the collar on, and then realised just when I was closely looking at the fabric that the grain line was going the wrong way. And then I realised that the pattern should actually be this way up. So this is the neckline, this is the arm side, this straight edge here is what joins onto the lower bodice, and the writing is just randomly at 90 degrees to the top of the pattern piece. So yeah, that was a big struggle in the first one. So I made sure that on the pattern piece to label neckline and arm side for future reference. But yeah, I'm not forgetting that mistake in a hurry because it was a lot of unpicking and it was just very sad, very painful, but I did manage to rescue it. I feel like I might have had to recut the front bodice pieces because they got a bit mangled. I can't really remember because I did make this first one a while ago, but I do remember this labeling thing being really annoying issue, and I don't know if they've since fixed it on the pattern, because when I looked on their website recently, it's now called the just called the zip up sweater, and they've got examples of it on women as well, but when I bought it, it was branded as the men's zip up sweater. So I don't know if they have updated the pattern pieces, but I do have the PDF and I haven't been sent a newer version, so this is what I've got, and I just have to remember that the labeling is not at the top. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you think that's a thing that you might fall victim to, so I don't feel so bad. I just assumed that the writing would be like the right way up for the pattern piece. And then on this one as well, I did put pockets in, so it's got these kind of, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but like these kind of curved pockets, and it was a bit of a faff to do that, I remember. Then luckily on this version, Doug was like, nah, I don't care about the pockets, I don't need the pockets, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, whatever you want, that's fine. And I was like, yes! So yeah, that was good. So then adaptations that I made to the pattern for the second version. So I made Doug a size large, I believe, but when I tried it on him, the shoulder was like too wide by quite a lot. So I cut off the excess and I decided I would just keep it in the envelope with my cut pattern pieces for future reference, so that I could just remove that from the pattern piece if I ever made it again. So what I did was I just cut into the pattern and then folded it back just in case that it didn't work. So I have just made sure that this is the shoulder seam here. So I've removed the correct amount from the top and then kind of tapered it out around the arm side. And I also did similar on the sleeve head as well, just to try and get it, like, to make sure that it would fit in still after the adjustment. It's not an exact science and probably a pattern cutting sin, but I thought it would just be a fairly speedy way to bring in the shoulders. But yeah, the shoulders do seem quite wide. I don't know if anyone else has found that. But yeah, certainly if I was making a version for myself, I would have to really think about what size to make the shoulders. But yeah, like I say, I don't know if they have changed any of the design since they've started selling it as more of a unisex pattern rather than a men's pattern. Because of this fabric being quite a unique colour, and they didn't have like a matching ribbing at the Little Shop of Fabrics when we bought this, and because this fabric does have stretch, because you can make the zip up sweater in a fabric without much stretch, so like a sort of teddy fleece or a polar fleece or something like that, which means you would have to have something kind of stretchier for the cuffs and the neck, otherwise it would be more difficult to like get it on, or it would be really tight on your neck if you tried to wear it as the turtleneck. But because this fabric does have like some amount of stretch, I thought I would give it a go just using this fabric for everything. But I was a bit worried about the neck, that it would be too bulky because this is like a fleecy backed fabric. But it turned out okay in the end. I don't really have any dramatic stories to tell you about that. In the pattern, it recommends you to press in the raw edge of the inside and then stitch in the ditch from the outside. And I did try that, but it just didn't I struggled to catch it all because this fabric's quite bouncy. So I ended up hand sewing it, which wasn't that bad, to be honest. I'm not great at hand sewing, but I think it doesn't look too bad. So there's a little bit of my stitching in the ditch in places that I couldn't unpick, but yeah, I think it looks okay. So yeah, I did the hand sewing, and then I didn't do the hemband on the bottom because I didn't have the matching ribbing. I just turned it under a couple of times and top stitched it down. And then on the sleeves, I was planning to do the same, but when I got Doug to try it on, the sleeves were actually a little bit short. Yeah, so I didn't do the cuffs on this original version, and I think maybe the sleeves came up shorter on the second version because of the adjustment that I'd done on the shoulder, because I took in both the shoulder pattern piece and the sleeve. So that meant the sleeves were just like a little bit too short. It was that really annoying thing where it fits, but by the time you've hemmed it, it's going to be too short. So I decided that I would just have a go at cutting out the cuff and basically make it almost the same width as the main pattern piece, since this fabric's not super stretchy, especially when it's doubled over. But I think that worked quite well, and I'm gonna, you know, I feel like I can get away with calling that a design feature instead of, oops, I made the arms too short. Speaking of, I might do that to my fish jumper. So I made this for the Super Bales Sew Safari challenge with my super cute little fishy on. But I haven't really worn it that much since I made it, and I think I made the sleeves a little bit too short for me on this, and I do have some scraps of this fabric left, so I might do a similar thing and make some cuffs for this one to see if I get any more wear out of it. That's another bonus long sleeve-ish project that I'm talking about in this video. So yeah, I think that is the main differences between this one and my first one, but Doug's really pleased with it. He said it's really cozy and warm, and now that the weather has turned, he has been wearing it a lot. One stupid thing actually that I did do was buy a zip that was way too short. So the zip goes from the top of the collar down to the bottom of this front yoke, and for some reason I'd written on my shopping list 8cm zip instead of 8 inches, so I bought this like pathetic tiny zip that didn't even cover the yoke, and I was like, why, how? So yeah, so I did have to buy a different zip which wasn't as perfect of a colour match, so I bought this nice khaki zip at the Little Shop of Fabrics, but I had to go to my local Hobbycraft and they only had these kind of darker green zips, but I think it looks okay. So yeah, I'm not too mad about it, especially when it's zipped up, you can't see too much of it. So I'll put in some pictures of Doug wearing his new long-sleeved jacket. I think it's got quite a sort of foresty feel with the colours and the tie-dye. But yeah, let me know if you have made this pattern before and what you thought of it. I definitely would say it's not a pattern for beginners, because inserting the zip and the collar isn't like the most straightforward. Like, it's not that difficult, but it's a bit fiddly, so I wouldn't take it on as your first project, especially when there are like really simple sweater projects that you could make, like the Billy sweater, for example. So yeah, but it is a good one as a sort of step up. You can see with this one, with the top stitching here, it's a bit more bubbly because the fabric's so thick, but I think it works. So before I get on to telling you about the prize draw and wrapping up this episode, I'm just going to tell you about a long sleeve project that I'm currently working on for myself, although I probably won't end up finishing by the end of this month, unfortunately, because just time's got away from me. But I did mention this in my previous video about my trip to the knitting and stitching show, and I had quite a lot of positive comments about this particular project in my video, so I thought I would show the progress and how I'm getting along, and I thought that would fit in with this video because it is another long sleeved project. So this is going to be the Tilly and the Buttons Sonny jacket. So it currently doesn't have the sleeves, which is off-brand for the video, but I've put on some really cute little rosy cheeks buttons. So this is on the back, so there's the collar, and I've got another one on the pocket. So this was like one with a fold in the middle, but I just unfolded it and pressed it, and I've put it onto the pocket, and I've made it in this really bright blue needle cord fabric. So I did spend a lot of time stroking the needle cord to make sure that I got the nap the right way in all of the pieces. And I've used some colourful bias binding for the inside of the facing all the way around. So I think this is gonna look really fun when it's done. So I've got these buttons from Pigeon Wishes that I'm gonna put on, and I think that they're really, really gonna pop on this blue fabric. So I need to make the buttonholes, put the buttons on, put the sleeves on, side seams, hem the sleeves. So I've got a fair bit of work still to do, but I thought I would show you that I am working on it, just yeah, for everyone who was intrigued by the project idea in my previous video. But yeah, I have been a little bit sick this week with food poisoning, so I haven't managed to get as much done as I had hoped. But yeah, this is my upcoming long sleeve projects, but maybe not for this challenge, which is a shame. So just a little bit about the prize draw, if you haven't heard about it yet. I appreciate that this video is coming out very late in the month, so you may already know, and yeah, feel free to skedaddle right now. But yeah, Shannon has organised some really good prizes, and she's also come up with a kind of different system of doing it this year, which is quite exciting. So Shannon, the host of the challenge, she's going to look through all of the entries into So Long Sleeves 23 and pick 10 finalists, and then the sewing community is going to be able to vote on who they think should win the prizes. So I think it's just a really exciting way to get the community involved, and the prizes are really good. So of the 10 finalists, I think all of the finalists will win a pattern from Vikisews. Then the runner-up will win a mini course from Vikisews, and then the winner, as voted by the community, will win an overlocker from Janome, which is actually an incredible prize. So yeah, hats off for like securing that prize, Shannon, that's amazing. And then there's also random prizes as well from a bunch of small businesses. So there's a year of free Stash Hub Plus from yours truly. There's also £30 from Sew Me Sunshine, £25 from Bornella Fabrics, and 3 patterns from So Different. So yeah, there's still like chances to win, even if you just have only just heard about this challenge and you're like, oh, what can I knock up with long sleeves in the last 3 days of the challenge or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely worth entering and joining in, because you never know, it might be a great opportunity to meet people in the community as well. So if you haven't been following along with the rest of the So Long Sleeves 23 vlog tour, do check out the other videos. So the video prior to mine was Caroline's Handmaids, so go and watch that one to see what Caroline's been working on or what their ideas are. And then the video after this one, in a couple of days' time, is from Chris at Sew Notes. So yeah, I'll tag them in the description below as well, so you can go directly to check out their channels. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed seeing the project that I made with the fabric that Doug picked out himself. He was really excited about it. So yeah, it was quite a quick turnaround actually from buying that fabric to getting that sewn up, and it was really good to be able to join in with the challenge as well. I always find the challenges provide a good motivation for me to actually like finish that project. I kind of the sort of person who needs a deadline to work to, just to motivate me right to the finish line. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, because it would be lovely to have you here for my future videos. And yeah, see you around.